We've all been there before. You're with some of your buddies at a bar or event. When you're around your close friends, you're supremely confident and talk as if you could get a girl's number without even speaking. Out of nowhere, some beautiful girls walk up to you and your friends. In the span of 1 second, your confidence goes down the tube and you freeze. You can't even string a single intelligent sentence together. And within seconds, the girls start wondering if you literally can't talk or if you're just some kind of savant. It's like Raj from the Big Bang Theory. While your buddies are having a conversation, you're kind of just floating around and looking at your phone or something. After a few minutes, the girls leave and your buddies crack a joke saying your game is weak. If this describes you well, don't worry. We're going to get you fixed up in the next few minutes. Look into the depths of any seduction community, which I don't recommend joining, and you'll see the word game thrown around all the time. But what does it really mean and how can you develop it? A quick look through Google would have you believe that your game is how well you can play World of Warcraft, but we all know that it's something else entirely. Imagine you're sitting in a bar and you see this guy surrounded by girls and he has them all laughing and giggling. He looks supremely confident, almost like it comes natural for him. You might think to yourself, man, that guy has game, and you'd be right. The truth is that some guys naturally develop game, others learn it, and some guys go to their grave with zero game. Trust me when I say that you don't want to be the guy who dies with zero game. For the guy who has no game, watching this dude in the bar is almost like watching a wizard cast spells in real life. You can't quite put your finger on exactly what he's doing, but you can tell that it's definitely working. Now, if we applied the Pareto principle, which states that roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of your inputs, we can estimate that about 80% of guys on the planet have little to no game. If this describes you, you should feel great because this means that you're not alone. It also means that with a little bit of effort, you can develop better game than 80% of the population of guys out there, which puts you at a huge advantage. You need to realize that game isn't just a way to pick up girls, although it's very effective for this purpose. What people call game is like a pizza. There are 3 main ingredients for the pizza, and when cooked correctly, they will taste amazing to anyone who cares to eat them. Corny analogies aside, a man's game can be broken up into 3 main parts. These parts are social calibration, attitude, and appeal. The attitude portion of your game consists of having the courage to take chances, and it also involves having some characteristics of an alpha male. When I say attitude, I mean your confidence, self-esteem, and self-image. Your attitude is so important because it has a huge impact on how you carry yourself and interact with others. For example, when it comes to self-image, who is going to believe what you're saying if you don't even value yourself enough to have confidence in what you're saying? The second major part of your game is social calibration or social intelligence. These words describe knowing what to say and when to say it. It also involves understanding the type of girl or person that you're talking to and the current circumstances surrounding the two of you. Most of the guys that society would label as players have an intuitive understanding of social dynamics, and they're also good at targeting a specific demographic. In my previous videos, a lot of people were asking why I use the word girl instead of woman. I do this because I understand my target demographic. I understand who I'm talking to, and I know the struggles they've been through. Social calibration is understanding who you're talking to and the dynamics of the situation. In some situations, it might be a beautiful girl at the grocery store. In others, you could be talking to the hiring manager. As you develop your game, you'll find that all social situations in your life start to fall into place. If you have longtime friends who have even the tiniest bit of game, you've probably noticed that they end up with more or less the same type of girls. Some guys have intuitively develop their game enough to know that they do the best with girls who aren't very smart, and others have success with girls who are smarter than average. Like every other guy out there, you have a target demographic, which is nothing more than the people that you naturally do best with and connect with socially. Social intelligence also describes how well you groom yourself, your living space, and your sense of style. The third and final ingredient of what you would call game is your ability to be appealing and interesting. Some guys have mastered this part of their game through deep conversations, storytelling, or humor. And for the best results, you should be good at all 3. Put simply, this part of your game is your ability to be interesting and appealing to your target audience. I personally know a few guys who are dumb as a rock, but since they've mastered this part of their game, they can keep girls and guys laughing anytime and anywhere. Some guys choose to master humor, while others become experts at storytelling. In the case of storytelling, I'm talking about many guys from the South. They come from small towns but have a natural ability to captivate you with stories. From a high-level perspective, game is really just your attitude, appeal, and social intelligence. When I say attitude, think alpha male traits, your confidence, your courage, the vibe that you put out when you're around people. Appeal is your ability to be interesting and not boring. Social intelligence is your ability to accurately read social cues and calibrate your words and actions in a way that provides a good time for everybody you're talking to. As mentioned earlier, roughly 80% of guys have no game, and there are some common signs to watch for. Keep in mind that there is nothing wrong with having no game or weak game. It's not like you have the bubonic plague or something. It just means that you need to work on improving your game. And with time and effort, like everything else in life, you can master it. The first sign that a guy has no game is that he panics when his friend who introduced him to a girl goes to the bathroom and leaves him alone with the girl. The second sign that a guy has no game is that he's incredibly confident around his close guy friends, but when a girl is introduced to the situation, he freezes up and gives the impression that he has a mental disability. Another telltale sign that a man's game is weak involves messing up every handshake. In other words, he has trouble knowing when to deliver a traditional handshake or pound it. Another sign that a guy has no game is that he relies heavily on alcohol and other crutches to talk to girls and strangers. Guys who have little to no game are notorious for asking girls questions like, "Are you okay?" and "Is something wrong?" while trying to court them. When a man's game is weak, he gets really weird or even hostile when someone looks him in the eye for too long. Another sign is constantly stretching, rubbing your eyes, or engaging in other nervous body language during a casual, non-threatening conversation. One of the biggest mistakes that guys with no game have is timing. When engaging in any social situation, their timing is off. In some of the worst cases, the guy will say nothing at all and just freeze, and others might have an idea of what to say, but their timing is way off. I remember I used to have this friend, and whenever we'd go through the drive-thru at a fast food joint, he would try to engage in some small talk with the person working the window, and his timing would always be off. He would wait several seconds to reply to something they said, and by that time, his words would come out right when the worker was saying something else to him. His game was also weak when it comes to social intelligence, so he wasn't able to pick up on important social cues. For example, the fast food employee would ask a customer how they were doing through the headset, and my friend would answer her thinking the worker was talking to him, but they were really just talking to another person in the drive-thru. It was actually really funny, but also really painful to watch. Another sign that a guy has no game is that he becomes the clumsiest person you've ever seen when around strangers, and if left in a room with people he just met, he begins to panic as if he's going to be eaten by a lion. Guys who have weak game actually believe that their life is in danger from just the thought of approaching a girl, and they can't keep a conversation going past the first few seconds. If any or all of these describe you, don't worry. With enough experience and effort to the point where your buddies won't even recognize you anymore. The dude who couldn't string a sentence together a year ago can have anyone laughing and enjoying his company anytime and in any environment. To improve your game, start with your attitude, which is the first component. This consists of most of the things mentioned in my alpha male video. In other words, work on developing your courage, confidence, and self-worth. A huge part of your attitude is truly believing that you're valuable and have something to offer. If you enter enough social situations with this belief, over time, your subconscious mind will be reprogrammed with the new belief that you're an extremely valuable person. The next part is social intelligence, which is how well you're able to read social cues, know what to say, and when to say it. The only real way to develop this part of your game is to get out there in the real world and experience social interactions. If your game is super weak, start small with little interactions. I know some guys that made a goal to talk to 10 strangers per day, no matter what. At first, it will feel horrible and you'll feel super anxious. But over time, the anxiety will fade away and it will come back as confidence. Your brain will start to create new connections and your social intelligence will increase. It's almost like learning to ride a bike. When you first start, you'll experience many epic failures, but they're only failures if you learn nothing from them. In life, there's no mistakes, only lessons. The attitude portion of your game is important, along with your appeal or how interesting you are. But your social intelligence is the most important part, and it will have the greatest impact on your results in the end. end. A final tip to help you improve your game is to learn your environment. When it comes to picking up girls, some guys are naturally more confident in bars or nightclubs, and others will do better at places like VidCon or gaming events. Some guys are more confident during the day, and others feel more at home during the night. You also have guys who do better with girls they meet within their social circle. If possible, you might even consider getting a job that will help you develop your social intelligence, such as becoming a bouncer, a bartender, or a DJ. Even a job in fast food can help expose you to many new social interactions. The optimal environment for you might even be online, but you must realize that at some point you'll need to meet in person, and this is where your real game will shine through. To start improving your game right now, think hard about your biggest insecurities and where you need to improve. Some guys are really interesting and have great appeal because they live an interesting life, but they lack the social intelligence needed to connect with people. Others have decent social intelligence but lack appeal, which makes them boring to be around. The end goal is to master all three areas of your game, and the sooner you face your fears and get started, the sooner you can improve your life and meet girls. Game is something that you must work at every single day, and like other skills, if you don't use it regularly, you'll lose it, and the connections in your brain that keep your game tight will weaken. With that said, let me know in the comments what part of your game is weak and what you need help improving. And until next time, thanks for watching.